This is CBS News Chicago.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dana Kozlov.
And I'm Jackie Kostek in for Audrina this morning. Thanks so much for being with us. Some breaking news on the CTA Red Line this morning after a rider is stabbed while on a train.
And another pause from the president as he backtracks on Mexico-Canada tariffs. The new developments in the trade war, plus President Trump's new tune on federal layoffs.
And a blast of winter to end our week as snow hovers over our area. Ed is tracking the rain-snow mix and the spring warm-up coming for the weekend.
We want to give you some breaking news right now, though. It tops your nonstop news, where a man is now in the hospital after a stabbing.
Chicago police say he was riding the CTA's Red Line. This happened near Clark and Cermak just before 1 o'clock this morning. This 31-year-old man was stabbed in the arm and taken to the hospital in fair condition. Police tell us they did find the suspect and charges are now pending.
And we now know the name of the 81-year-old man who died after a fire in the Logan Square neighborhood. The medical examiner identified him as Jose Alcazar. CBS Skywatch was over the home after 5 o'clock last night. You can see the smoke billowing on Oakley near Winona. Police say firefighters found Alcazar and took him to the hospital where he later died. 7 other people got out of that home okay. No word yet on what may have caused that fire.
And we're taking a live look outside right now on a gray Friday morning and a rain-snow mix coating roadways and sidewalks. But the good news here is that you won't need your shovels.
That's great news.
Isn't that good news?
Yeah. Let's turn now to meteorologist Ed Curran, who's in our First Alert Weather Center with the deets.
These springtime kind of snows, I had a viewer tell me once, my husband says this is God's snow. God puts it here, God can take it away because it melts almost as soon as it falls.
Great.
And that's what we're looking at today. We're looking at any snow that does accumulate around here to be a very light snow that falls, and it shouldn't cause too much of a problem for you. We take a look at the visibility out here. You can see it's knocked down a little bit at DeKalb, and we're looking at temperatures that aren't good for snow once it gets down to the ground. 38 degrees is what we're looking at currently at O'Hare, and other areas running very warm as well, almost 40 degrees in Midway and at Gary. So the snow that is making it down is coming down. A little snow, a little grapple reported to us in areas especially up to the north and west. Out near Aurora we see some, and up to the north and near the Illinois state line. Again, a lot of this falling into an unfriendly environment for snow, but you can see a slight accumulation. Perhaps especially on elevated surfaces that are above the ground where snow is able to collect a little bit. But it'll be a wet snow that quickly melts away as we go into tomorrow and bring our temperatures up very, very nicely around here. We're looking at temperatures that climb to the 40s, 50s, and by next week into the 60s. And we'll tell you all about it and how long we'll see the sun around here starting tomorrow. Coming up in just a little bit. Back to you.
Okay, Ed, thanks so much. Well, we are following new developments from South-suburban Medical Center in Oak Park, where leaders there are appealing the loss of credentials for its residency programs.
We know that has left many doctors in training scrambling. So Asal Razai is live from the hospital this morning with the very latest. Asal, good morning.
Jackie, Dana, good morning to you. Things look normal from where we're standing here outside of the emergency room, but we know behind the scenes there's a lot of pointing fingers, and now an appeal in hopes of keeping the residency program here intact. You may remember just a few weeks ago, we learned South-suburban Medical Center was being stripped of its residency accreditation with their program set to end in June. In a letter sent out just yesterday, the hospital CEO saying they plan to defend their record and showcase the strength of the program during the appeals process. They also said they'll be working with any medical staff here who'd like to move to other programs during this time. We know the hospital has been plagued with issues over the past few years, with residents picketing in November over safety concerns here. Some staff even saying at that point that the hospital was in critical condition. We have reached out to hospital officials this morning about some allegations being made against the president of medical staff. Still have not heard back this morning. We'll bring you updates as soon as we get an update from them. I'm live in Oak Park. Asal Razai, CBS News Chicago.
Asal, thank you. Investigators returned to the site of what was a massive magnesium plant fire in the south suburbs. They returned today.
We first brought you this story as breaking news yesterday while smoke and flames poured from the Chicago Magnesium casting company in Dixmoor. Our crew saw the building was still smoldering this morning. This as investigators are still working to figure out how that fire started. But the extent of the damage could leave that question unanswered. The facility was still smoldering yesterday after crews spent hours battling the flames. Officials say it took up to 80 firefighters to get that fire under control.
Magnesium reacts with water, so that makes it a challenge. We had quite a few different explosions that were happening during the building from that chemical reaction. So we were able to contain it, but that was one of the big issues.
When I arrived, there was still explosions going on due to the fact there's magnesium over there. Barrels was blowing up and so forth.
The facility's roof also collapsed during the fire. The EPA collected air and runoff samples, the results of which are still pending.
This morning, police continue their search for a man they say sexually assaulted someone in Logan Square. Police just released this sketch. They say the assault happened on January 14th on Armitage near Kimball, and since then, 3 more sexual assaults have happened in that neighborhood, but police have not connected the incidents. The most recent was Sunday on Palmer near Kedzie. Investigators say someone attacked a 23-year-old woman around 2 a.m. inside a vehicle. We spoke to neighbors who want to see more safety measures.
We shouldn't have to be scared to be in our neighborhood. We shouldn't have to be scared to be walking around. And something needs to change at this point in time. I think that that's the least we can do. You know, this is something that's been going on for a while, and the rates are increasing. You know, what is this going to become an every night thing?
Last month, many concerned community members turned out for a meeting with police. Alder people say they sent a letter to Illinois State Police asking to expedite rape kits. And Chicago police need your help identifying 4 people they say robbed and beat a senior citizen on the CTA in Uptown. Those are the suspects right there. The incident happened on the Red Line at Wilson on February 12th. Police say the 2 men and 2 women took a man's cell phone and beat him when he tried to get it back. Anyone with information is encouraged to reach out to police. And President Donald Trump has issued yet another pause on sweeping tariffs on Canada and Mexico, this time for the goods listed in the trade deal that President Trump brokered with the 2 U.S. neighbors during his first term.
As Jared Hill reports, federal job cuts are moving ahead, but with a new directive.
President Donald Trump is taking a step back on tariffs.
It's just a modification, short term.
Thursday announcing a temporary pause on import taxes for goods listed in the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade deal, brokered during his first term. In response, Canada announced a pause to its retaliatory tariffs. But Doug Ford, premier of the province of Ontario, is skeptical.
He said that before, and he switched his mind.
He says if President Trump doesn't drop the tariffs for good, he'll put a 25% tariff on electricity that Ontario sends to Minnesota, Michigan, and New York, starting Monday.
Last thing I want to do is turn out the lights. I'll put a tariff, but let's straighten this out.
President Trump is also shifting his tone on mass federal firings after a meeting with members of his cabinet and Elon Musk.
I want the cabinet members to keep good people. I don't want to see a big cut where a lot of good people are cut.
In a message posted on X, Veterans Affairs Secretary Doug Collins explained his department would shrink by 72,000 employees.
We'll be making major changes, so get used to it.
A new report says more than 62,000 federal jobs were cut in February, driven largely by Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. Jared Hill, CBS News.
A federal judge has ordered the Trump administration to pay partners of the USAID and State Department more quickly. Their new deadline is this Monday. The order is part of an ongoing case following the White House's termination of more than 90% of USAID contracts. Meanwhile, Pope Francis released his first audio message since his hospitalization began 21 days ago.
His original message was in Spanish, so we are playing you a version with an English voiceover.
I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your prayers for my health from the square. I accompany you from here. May God bless you and the Virgin protect you. Thank you.
The Vatican says the Pope is still stable after episodes of acute respiratory failure earlier this week. The 88-year-old pontiff has been battling double pneumonia. The Vatican says it won't release any more updates on the Pope's health until tomorrow.
Chaos at the busiest train station in Europe after a huge undetonated World War II bomb was discovered on or near train tracks in Paris. Trains have been stopped since the morning rush hour, and major highways and nearby roadways are now blocked off as crews work to demine the bomb. It was found a mile and a half from the train station, reportedly by a construction crew working on a nearby rail bridge.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says his country will hold talks with the U.S. in Saudi Arabia next week about ending the war with Russia. Last week, Zelensky's visit to the White House unraveled as he and President Trump clashed. The U.S. then paused military aid and intel to Ukraine. Trump says Zelensky has since sent him a letter saying he's ready to sign a deal for U.S. support. Well, hiring is up, but so is the unemployment rate.
Yeah, so we're going to be breaking down the numbers from this morning's jobs report and how government cuts are now impacting the market.
And here's another reason to make sure your teens go to bed earlier, how a lack of sleep could affect their blood pressure.
Welcome back. 9:14 on your Friday morning. It'll cost more for you to buy Mega Millions tickets, but the lottery says that they're trying to make it easier for you to get rich. Tickets will now be $5 per play, but the lotto says it is overhauling the game in hopes of improving jackpot odds. It says this could lead to more billion-dollar wins in the future, something that time will tell.
Note to self, in 1 year, check to see if there have been more billion-dollar wins. Yep. All right, Jackie, the government has just released the February employment report.
And the good news is hiring has ticked up, but so did the unemployment rate. So CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger joining us live now to discuss. So Jill, good morning to you. And what were the results?
The economy produced 151,000 jobs, a little bit more than the previous month. It was the 50th consecutive month of job growth, which is quite a milestone. And, you know, listen, I know that the unemployment rate came in a little bit higher at 4.1%, not meaningful. It really is not a big difference. The good part of this report, annual wages up by 4%. So a 4% increase from a year ago. That's important because that's ahead of price increases. We know the inflation rate was up by 3%. 4 minus 3, here we go, gang, breaking news, is 1. And that 1% falls to each worker's bottom line. So the difference between your wages and prices, that's good news for workers.
Oh, that's so important for so many people right now, Jill. How have the federal government cuts, though, impacted the labor market?
Well, we haven't seen the full impact. The federal government lost 10,000 jobs, but again, tip of the iceberg, because we know the hiring freeze, that buyout offer, and importantly, those mass layoffs, those 200,000 workers, those are going to show up in a much more pronounced way in the coming months. We're just hopeful that the private sector, which is really growing pretty solid way, that the private sector can absorb those out-of-work government workers.
So, Jill, if you are a government worker or in an industry that could potentially see cuts, is there anything you can do to prepare right now?
Yeah, I always go back to basics when it comes to a time of transition or when I'm feeling anxiety. And the basic is making sure that you have 6 to 12 months of your living expenses in an emergency reserve fund. That has to be something that's liquid, like a checking, a savings, a money market, a short-term CD. Now, if you find yourself short on that cash account, maybe you should temporarily, and temporarily is important here, reduce your retirement plan or your contributions to your kids' college savings fund, because the short-term need for cash is probably more important than those long-term savings goals.
You know, a lot of really good advice there, too. Thank you so much, Jill, as always. You can still see Jill regularly on CBS Mornings and the CBS Evening News, or find more analysis at jillonmoney.com. Have a great weekend.
And let's turn now to our first alert forecast once again with meteorologist Ed Kern. Ed, what are we looking like in terms of the snow right now?
Well, we do have some snow out there, some snow that's made it down to the ground, and it's very warm outside. That's the problem we have here. You can see the snow coming in, but in the last frames of this, you can also see that a lot of this changes over to rain. We have some very mild temperatures around here, and you're looking at snow reported on the ground at places like Aurora up to the north near the state line here, but also some rain as you head particularly to the south, and that's ever changing because we're warming things up. We're all the way up to 39 degrees at Midway and 38 at O'Hare and 38 at Joliet. So very, very mild temperatures out there getting in the way of the snow, but the snow can get down on the ground, give you a little bit of a slushy accumulation, especially on elevated surfaces. 38 degrees at O'Hare right now. Winds are calm, and we're looking down at the Kennedy Expressway where there's no problem as far as any snow on the ground is concerned here. And just some light snow expected here and there mixed with rain as we go through the afternoon hours. You can see it here. This model wants to give you mostly snow changing over to rain as we get into the afternoon. Rain to the south, maybe a little snow to the north, but all in all, very mild temperatures keep it from being any kind of big problems. So just minor accumulations in a few spots as we go through the day. Tomorrow, what a jump in temperatures from the mid-30s to upper 30s today to a high of 46 degrees tomorrow and 54 degrees on Sunday with sunshine Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And Monday, we go to 61 degrees. 65 Tuesday. Best chance of rain comes in here later in the week, but just a 20% chance on Tuesday. Partly cloudy and 55 on Wednesday and 60 degrees on Thursday. So lots of mild temperatures ahead. And don't forget, this weekend, you're going to change the clocks as we spring forward. Let's take a look at how those roads are doing out there. Here's Chris Habermel. Chris.
Good morning, Ed. Hi, everybody. Spring ahead to the 60s. Kind of like it. Going to lose an hour of sleep. You might as well warm up right afterwards. You know, I witnessed kind of an inverse traffic weather phenomenon today. A lot of people were out when the roads were still dry. We had crashes all over the place and delays all over the place. Now that the weather has gotten a little bit soupy, take a look at the map and guess what? We're now Friday light. It's only kind of slow getting in towards downtown on all the core expressways. All our big issues have gone away. We don't have any road work going on out there right now. Not even the pothole patrol is out there, but don't put it past them to go out there and fix those divots later on. We've been taking a look at something that we'll put on your radar for the weekend. If you normally use the CTA Green Line, they're going to be doing some station work, so shuttle buses will be for you from Roosevelt to the 35th IIT station all day tomorrow until 7 p.m. on Sunday. So plan accordingly. Chris Habermel, CBS News, Chicago.
All right, Chris, thanks so much. Well, we will all lose an hour of sleep early Sunday morning when daylight savings time takes effect, and the move will set off the annual springtime debate over whether daylight saving time is good for us. So, research has shown that the ritual of changing the clocks in spring and fall can impact productivity and our mental and physical health. It's why the American Academy of Sleep Medicine wants to eliminate seasonal time changes.
Well, a new approach in fighting Alzheimer's disease. The Northwestern study looking at how to use the brain's own natural defenses.
And dozens of people, including several suburban firefighters, will be rushing up the stairs to help those struggling to take a breath. We're talking with a Villa Park firefighter planning to do the Fight for Air climb wearing all of her gear.
Good morning, I'm Darius Johnson, and we are jump-starting your morning with Johnson here in LaGrange for the restaurant week that they are having here. Right now, we are at Milk Money Brewing. It's one of the first breweries here in LaGrange. Joining me is Dan from the LaGrange Business Association. Dan, really fast, talk to me.
Oh, it's a great time to come visit LaGrange. Lots of different dining options. Fancy date night to great places to come with the kids.
And one thing they also have here, video games and an arcade. So we're going to play those as we go into the break, and we will see you all later on in the hour. Dave, let him through.
Well, Welcome back. On the Health Watch this morning, researchers are looking into a new approach in fighting Alzheimer's using the brain's own natural defenses.
A study at Northwestern University found certain immune cells help remove plaque and restore a healthy brain environment. Currently, there isn't a way to target these immune cells, but doctors say it is a first step to finding better treatments.
And if you want to improve your health, I didn't want to hear this, but you're supposed to eat less butter and more plant oil. So a study by Mass General Brigham looking at the diet of 200,000 people, it found people who consumed more soybean, canola, and olive oil had lower rates of cancer and death. People who ate more butter had higher rates of cancer and death. Switching from butter to plant oils could lower your risk of death by as much as 17%.
And teenagers who don't get enough sleep are at risk for high blood pressure. A study by the American Heart Association found teens who either had insomnia or slept less than 7.7 hours a night had an elevated blood pressure compared to teens who were getting enough sleep. The findings show that poor sleep can impact the heart, even at younger ages.
Do you know of an organization working to improve mental health? If so, we want to hear from you. So Mental Health Action Day is a day in May dedicated to driving our mental health culture from awareness to action. This year, CBS is teaming up with MTV to provide grants to empower nonprofits to host events and engage communities in taking action for mental health. The deadline for submissions is this Sunday, March 9th. Please visit actionday.org/grant to find out more and apply.
We are following some breaking news this morning. Next at 9:30, after a car thief leads state police on a chase from the south side all the way to Grundy County. And a family calls for justice after a mother is killed after being hit by a Cook County Sheriff's squad car.
And some very discouraging news about butterflies in our country. Hear how much their population has declined this century.
This is CBS News Chicago.
Good Friday morning to you. I'm Jackie Kostek in for Audrina this morning.
And I'm Dana Kozlov. It is almost 9:30. In a few seconds now it is. Thanks for staying with us on this Friday. Uber makes a neutrality deal with the union, but it could throw a wrench into a proposed Chicago ordinance for better pay and protections for rideshare drivers.
Indeed, in gray skies and snow, but it won't last long. A rain-snow mix right over the city, but we will get to enjoy more spring-like weather soon, and we are all looking forward to that. Meteorologist Ed Curran is in our first weather center for us now. Ed, what's going on this afternoon? And then you got to give us a look ahead a little later on in the show to the nice warm temperatures.
Yeah, you can have a little bit of a mix of rain and snow around the area. Some snow in a few areas reported to us, snow that made it down to the ground here, but it's really mild outside, and that's getting in the way of any snow that wants to set up on the ground. 38 degrees right now, calm winds. We do have visibilities down in some areas that would indicate that we have some snow that's falling. Out where it's colder, DeKalb, we have 2-mile visibility, 1 mile at Aurora, and then it gets very, very warm, and we wind up with a lot of rain around here. So what we're looking at is as we go through the day today, we'll see this rain and snow with us, and temperatures coming up, giving us more rain in areas, but we could have a few snow showers as well. It's chillier, 33 degrees at DeKalb, 39 degrees, almost 40 degrees at Midway Airport, and we're going to keep these temperatures going up as we go into tomorrow after a day in the mid-30s here. And I'll have details on how warm it's going to get. It's going to get warm coming up in just a little bit. Back to you.
Looking forward to that, Ed. Thanks so much. Well, breaking news this morning. It took a chase from 35th Street and the Dan Ryan all the way to Grundy County, but Illinois State Police were able to arrest a suspected car thief.
Just before midnight, troopers saw a Nissan sedan on the south side that had been reported stolen and tried to pull it over, but the driver kept going. The stolen car took off on I-55 and led troopers through DuPage, Will, and Grundy counties before the suspect was arrested near Dwight, Illinois, and charged with possession of a stolen motor vehicle and a DUI. And this morning we are hearing from the family of a Chicago mother who died after a Cook County Sheriff's officer hit her with his car in Glenview.
The family made the difficult decision decision to take her off of life support this week. Glenview police say 28-year-old Mercedes Smith was walking on Milwaukee Avenue near Gulf and Greenwood early Tuesday morning when a sheriff's officer hit her. She has a 10-year-old daughter. Her family says Smith spent time in the hospital in a medically induced coma, and they're still trying to figure out how this happened.
The simple fact of the matter is, you killed her, and we need justice. That's the fact.
The family says they plan to donate her organs and will work with a lawyer. Glenview police say they are investigating the crash. New this morning, negotiations over a proposed Chicago ordinance for better pay and protections for rideshare drivers could be upended.
Uber confirmed to us it signed a neutrality agreement with the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 150. It creates another path to better pay and benefits, but the workers would still be classified as independent contractors, and they wouldn't have the same labor law protections as full-time employees. 22nd Ward Alderman Michael Rodriguez says this agreement, though, shouldn't stop the proposed ordinance from going forward. It would mandate a minimum wage for drivers, which would index to inflation. The ordinance would also allow an appeals process for deactivation.
The number of overdose deaths in Illinois has declined by 8.3%. And looking at just opioids, the number of fatal overdoses dropped nearly 10%. Both figures are well ahead of the national average. This comes as people locally are raising more awareness about drug overdoses. So a billboard on Chicago's northwest side shows the faces of people who have died from overdoses. It includes the face of Tiffany Reeves, who overdosed in Bridgeview in 2022 at just 27 years old. We spoke to her mother, who ties black balloons on the front porch every March 6th, a day to honor those they've lost.
I don't think I've ever stopped to grieve. I've just been fighting ever since. If it can save a life, I know my daughter wouldn't want this to happen to anybody else, and that's why I do it. I have to be her voice.
The state says several factors are reducing the number of overdoses in our state, including increased efforts to distribute naloxone or Narcan, the availability of fentanyl test strips, and community outreach.
Well, if you work remotely and can live anywhere, some Indiana counties want to pay you to live there. The Central Indiana Regional Development Authority has teamed up with an organization called Make My Move. So if you're looking to live around Indianapolis, here is your chance. The offer is available to 50 new households. You'll get up to $5,000 to pay for the move, and officials say the cost of living is about 10% less than the national average. And today, crowds will rally at Federal Plaza in the Loop to talk about the importance of science. Leaders in science and medical research, along with elected officials and community members, will talk about the impact federal funding cuts are having on their work. It starts at noon and is one of many rallies happening nationwide today.
Well, we're keeping an eye on our changing climate, and U.S. butterflies are vanishing at an alarming rate.
Scientists say we lost 1 out of 5 butterflies over the last 20 years. A study in the journal Science used data from more than 12.6 million butterflies of more than 340 species, and it found the number of butterflies dropped 22%. Population declines were largest in Arizona, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Texas. The beautiful insects play a vital role in pollination and the health of our ecosystems.
The research did include monarch butterflies, which is the Illinois state butterfly. Efforts are already underway here in Illinois to help bring the endangered species back. The Illinois Monarch Project is working to grow monarchs' habitats. They plan to add 150 million new milkweed stems and other nectar resources by 2038.
Well, Jumpstart is about to get your mouth watering. We are getting a look at LaGrange Restaurant Week.
It has been all morning, and it's tough enough to climb hundreds of stairs. Now imagine doing it in full firefighter gear. We're talking to one Villa Park firefighter who's doing the fight for air climb to help those who struggle to take a breath.
And a seismic shift for one of Chicagoland's biggest companies, how Walgreens is getting set to go private.
A warm-up means that you'll likely see more rain than any snow out of the system that's currently moving through, but we have seen some snow, and we'll talk about that and about the soaring temperatures on their way coming up in just a little bit.
Welcome back. Dozens of people will be taking the stairs this Sunday, all to help support those who struggle to take a breath.
They'll be participating in the Fight for Air climb, zipping up 660 stairs, about 30 floors, to the top of Oakbrook Terrace Tower, right? About 30 floors? Nicole Else, a firefighter with Villa Park and a paramedic, is taking part, and you're joining us to talk about why you're doing it and, you know, why it's important.
Yeah, so I feel participating in the climb is something that can benefit everybody. It can help me with my training, also can help in raising money for lung health, and also people becoming more aware of the importance of lung health as well.
And you're doing it with your equipment.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a key point.
Yeah, I was going to say, how many pounds are we talking with all of this equipment?
Yeah, so altogether, probably about 60 to 65 pounds, including the air pack and everything.
Have you been training for this?
Yeah, so at my fire station, we have a stair climber. So I'll just get full gear, go on air, everything, and then just climb 30 to 40 floors and use that as my training.
How do you feel when you do that?
Pretty good. A little tired afterwards, but yeah, it's good.
Now, I know only about 10% of firefighters in the entire country are women. Why did you decide to become a firefighter, and why is lung health so important to firefighters in particular?
So becoming a firefighter for me was one of those things that just when I started learning about the fire service in general, I just immediately was interested. And I just knew that it was what I wanted to do. I think also with the tie-in with paramedicine as well, I have a lot of interest in the medical field too. So tying them together, something that I really loved right from the start. And then as far as the training goes and becoming a firefighter, Fire Academy is the first thing that you'd start with. A lot of places require to be a paramedic too before that. And you go through that, and then the training's all the same for men and women as well. So kind of the same all across the board.
Yeah. Are you planning to do Sunday's event with co-workers, other firefighters?
Yeah, so there's actually another firefighter from my department on my shift that'll be attending with me.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so we'll be doing it together. I think neighboring departments as well also have firefighters that'll be attending too. So,
is there anything in particular you're going to have in your mind on Sunday when it inevitably gets challenging at some point?
I would say, I think just for me, whenever training in general gets challenging, I just think about the end goal, which is that I'm training to do this to help serve the citizens of my village, which is kind of what I think of, and that's also something that fuels me during, you know, just working out, training, everything. So.
Well, and you know, when I think about this, you know, your equipment here, this is actually something that firefighters might have to do in the line of their job. They might have to have all their equipment on, and if there's a certain type of fire, might actually have to climb these floors or more.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
You know,
even like on a fire, that we would actually have more than likely more gear than this, including like tools that we're carrying and things like that. I can go anywhere up, like this is 60 to 65 pounds. We could go up to carrying anything as much as 100, 120 extra pounds.
You guys really are heroes.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Nicole Else, thank you so much for joining us
thank you
this morning,
so much.
and good luck.
Good luck.
Yes. Thank you.
We want to hear how it goes.
Okay, of course. Thank you so much.
Well, the Fight for Air climb is Sunday from 8 to noon at Oakbrook Terrace Tower, as we've mentioned. For more information, head to fightforairclimb.org/Oakbrook.
And we're going to turn things over to meteorologist Ed Curran once again to talk about our forecast. Ed, good morning.
Hi there, and taking a look at Oakbrook from the tower here, and we see some snowflakes that have flown past us, though they've seemed to have lightened up right now. We had a little burst of snow come through here. Temperatures are very mild, 38 degrees with calm winds when the winds do blow. They've been coming from the south and changing over some of the snow to rain, especially in areas to the south. But you can see it's rain to the south and snow to the north and to the northwest, but a lot of this, when it gets down to the ground, is in an environment that is not very supportive of snow. I mean, when you're looking at a temperature nearly 40 degrees at Midway, 38 at O'Hare, the colder spots up northwest, 33 degrees. So we have some snow coming down, lowering our visibility in areas, and we'll see some of these snow showers throughout the day. Their ability to accumulate light, of course, challenged by these temperatures, but you may see some accumulation, especially on raised areas off of the warm ground like bridges and places like that. We go through the afternoon, seeing some rain to the south, maybe some snow showers to the north. That's about it. It's not a lot to worry about, but tomorrow, we really warm things up. 46 degrees tomorrow, and look at where we go over the next 10 days. We're into the 60s by Monday and Tuesday after our warm-up on the weekend, and by the time we get to next Friday, 70 degrees is what the models are giving us right now. So a real warm up around here. And we have sunshine Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and a little chance for some precip, some rain in here on Tuesday as we bring our temperatures down just a little bit Wednesday and Thursday. But all in all, after we get through today, a very nice forecast across Chicagoland. Let's see how the roads are doing. Last time they looked really good. Here's Chris Habermill.
For the most part, Ed, we're still kind of hanging in there. We're doing okay, but we've got a couple of things that have popped up since the last time we talked, so off to the maps we go. And we've got a new problem in northwest Indiana. It's a big problem for the individual who was involved here. They spun out and hit the wall on the southbound side of I-65. Don't believe they're hurt, but the vehicle's kind of damaged. So that being the case, authorities are there. They blocked the left lane, and the southbound side of 65 is now backed up solid from just off of 65 and the ramp there off of 8094 onto southbound 65 to past Ridge Road. Not too terribly far away. It's the time of the day when the divot fixers come out. Pothole patching is happening on the inbound Bishop Ford past 159th. They will block a lane or lanes as necessary. So that delay stretches past 159th or all the way back to just about the Borman coming off of there onto the Bishop Ford. Core Expressway is pretty busy, especially when you get in towards downtown Chicago on the Stevenson and the Ryan, but that's pretty standard fare for this time of day and day of the week. Have a great day, folks. Drive safe, and let's be nice to each other. Chris Habermill, CBS News Chicago.
All right, Chris, thanks so much. Well, on your Money Watch this morning, call it a new version of the government's one-time gold stockpile at Fort Knox for the new millennium.
President Donald Trump signed an executive order establishing a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Now, earlier this week, Mr. Trump had signaled on social media that he would direct the government to stockpile Bitcoin, Ethereum, and 3 other tokens, once favored by criminals trading contraband on the dark web. Cryptocurrency isn't without its critics. For one thing, the digital asset's value is extremely volatile.
Deerfield-based Walgreens is going private in a nearly $10 billion deal that still needs approval from shareholders and the feds. The drugstore chain is one of Chicago area's largest employers. And this morning, local workers are wondering what that sale could mean for them. In the past year or so, Walgreens has closed about 1,500 stores.
Some United frequent flyers are grumbling this morning. Starting in 2027, travelers who are companions of those in the 1 Million Miler Club will no longer receive the earned status of their Million Miler sponsor. Instead, they'll get Premier Gold status. Travel industry watchers say Chicago-based United is making a move to cater to passengers who spend the most each year on their air travel. Well, this morning we are heading out to LaGrange. 22 restaurants are taking part in this year's LaGrange Restaurant Week.
Always a good time. From barbecue to upscale international cuisine, steaks, and more, there is truly something for everyone. Our Darius Johnson has been out there all morning. Darius, where are you now and what are you enjoying?
Jackie, you mentioned all the things, but where we are right now is the first brewery in LaGrange. Right now, we are at Milk Money Brewing, and we are here for LaGrange Restaurant Week again. There are 22 restaurants that will be featured throughout Restaurant Week, which ends on Sunday. And again, we are at Milk Money Brewing, the first brewery here in LaGrange. Joining me this morning is Sarah. Remind me wait, hold on. Cousin Mickey. Cuz Mickey. There we go. You are the general manager here. Talk to me a little bit about all the items that you all have right here featured for Restaurant Week, and then we'll get into all the different beers that you all have.
Okay, so this is our top seller right now. It's the Mahi Mahi Tacos. It comes with a avocado lime sauce and a pineapple slaw. Comes with a side of chips as well house made. Okay. And then we also have our Chicago style sausage pizza. It also comes available in Hawaiian or cheese. Mm-hmm. And then these little guys are our smoked hickory pork rib sliders with a side of fries and our house-made ketchup.
All of this is a part of the Restaurant Week menu. Are people able to get this for lunch or dinner or both?
Both.
All right. Talk to me also. You all are the first brewery here in LaGrange. How long have you all been open? And talk to me about the different things that you all offer on tap.
So we've been here about 4 years. We have a good, it ranges between 8 to 11 beers. Right now we have 11. From a light lager all the way down to a dark milk stout.
And you all, within that, talk to me about what you all offer with it. I know you all have some beers to go, and Dave, a lot of them are right there on that wall to the left of you. That's where you can see all the names. I believe you said the names, they are kind of special too.
Correct, yes. Our brewer picks out the names himself when he brews them. You could get these beers to go in a 32-ounce crawler, that anything we have on tap, or whatever 4-packs that we have in the fridge.
All right, talk to me. What do the people need to know? We have about 45 seconds left. If people want to be able to come out for Restaurant Week, if people want to come here, you all have a lot of different offerings. From what I understand, this place is also very family friendly, even though it is a brewery.
Correct. We are family friendly, and it's a casual place for mom and dad to come enjoy a beer while the kids are in the back jamming on the little mini free arcade we have back there. The back room is also a secluded area for private events and everything. We offer our catering menu as well.
All right, perfect. Sarah, you just laid everything out. How has Restaurant Week been for you all so far?
Really good. Like I said, those tacos are our #1 seller right now.
Okay, and you said they're black and mahi-mahi?
Black and mahi-mahi tacos.
Okay, that's something I may have to try. All right, you all get a full view of Restaurant Week right here in LaGrange. Again, we showed you 4 different restaurants. There are 22 in total that are being featured. You only have until Sunday. Make sure you make your way over here. And listen, you can park and just make your way up and down the street. That's what we've been doing all morning long. Jackie and Dana sending things back to you in studio. And yes, I am full.
Yeah, eating his way through LaGrange this morning. Thanks so much.
Darius, you can't say I didn't prepare you or warn you. There's producer Tom, too. I know producer Tom. And Dave Kennerbrew behind the camera are always diving
There was
into
one
those
for
spreads.
each of you.
Well,
You know
enjoy.
Dave has his to-go plates.
I was going to ask if you wanted me to package them up for you guys, too.
Anywho, coming up, we'll look at the stories we're following today, including why you need to be extra careful on the roads on Sunday.
I love me Lucky Charms. They're magically delicious.
Whether it's Lucky Charms, Frosted Flakes, Cheerios, or Rice Krispies, it's time to celebrate that cereal with a bowl full of milk. Today is National Cereal Day. Cereal traces its roots to the Kellogg brothers in Battle Creek, Michigan, who first started with Corn Flakes. Welcome back, everyone. Here's a look at the stories we're keeping an eye on today.
Chicago police say a man was stabbed riding the red line. This happened near Clark and Cermak just before 1 o'clock this morning. The 31-year-old man was stabbed in the arm and taken to the hospital in fair condition. Police tell us they did find the suspect and charges are now pending.
West-suburban Medical Center in Oak Park is now working to keep its residency program credentials. The hospital says it filed an appeal to the Accreditation Council yesterday. Right now, West-suburban is set to lose its residency program accreditation at the end of June, which will leave doctors in training at the hospital scrambling.
Well, love it or hate it, get ready to change your clocks this coming Sunday. Yes, this Sunday at 2 o'clock in the morning, we spring forward, artificially shifting the window of daylight we have each day to an hour later until the autumn. Be careful, though, because they say, well, the day after the twice annual time change is usually one of the worst for car accidents, so be careful on the roads.
Well, we're taking a look at some snow around the area, just in spotty areas. Why? Because it's 40 degrees at O'Hare. That's why. So snow is coming down like it is at Midway right now, but 39 degrees doesn't let it hang around very long here at all. Snow to the north, rain to the south. Today's high in the mid-30s, but this weekend the temps climb, and by next week we're in the 60s.
Okay, Ed, thanks so much. 60s, and there's a 70. Did you see that too, Jackie?
I didn't.
There's
I only saw
70,
60s.
And I'm holding Ed to it.
Yes, yes.
Next Friday.
Yeah, you're on the record, Ed. We're coming back to you for that.
Right.
You got
all right. Thanks, everyone, for joining all of us here on the News at 9. Your local news continues on our digital streaming network, CBS News Chicago.
And remember, you can find us online at Paramount Plus, Pluto TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. Have a great day and stay safe.